Jagannath Swami ki, Lady Subhadra ki, Lord Balaram ki, Srila Prabhupada, Yeho! Jaya Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari. Kartos. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba, Jai Girivara Dari, Jai Girivara Dari. Gopi Jana Balaba, Jai Girivara Dari, Jai Girivara Dari. Yasurinandana, Jai Brajajanarandana, Yasurinandana, Jai Brajajanarandana. Munachira Bhanachari, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Kunja Bihari. Gunachira Bhanachari, Jayo Kunja Bihari, Jai Kunja Bihari. Yasurinandana, Jai Brajajanarandana, Jai Yasurinandana, Jai Brajajanarandana. Gunachira Bhanachari, Jayo Kunj Bihari Jai Kunja Bihari Munatira Vanashari Dayo Kunja Bihari Jai Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaba Lava Jai Girivada Dadi Jai Girivada Dadi Gopi Janaba Lava Jayo Girivada Jai Girivada Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Radha Madhava ki, Sri Vrindavan Dham ki, Snana Yatra ki, Jagannath Swami ki, Go Premanande! Hare Krishna. Just give us a few moments here to set up. My mind longs for the blessed vision of my Guru. It cries out like a thirsty chakora bird. My thirst is not quenched, and I can find no peace without the vision of that blessed person. O Lord and Master, your face is most beautiful, and the sound of your words impart deep wisdom. It has been so long since this rain bird has had even a glimpse of water. Blessed is that land where you dwell, my dear most friend and spiritual master. I give myself to you now and forever, O deliverer of my soul. When I could not be with you for just one moment, the dark age of Kali Yuga dawned upon me. When will I meet you again, O beloved Lord and Master? I cannot endure the night, and sleep does not come to me without your audience. I will surrender everything to have your darshan once again. It was my extreme good fortune to meet you, O most saintly of all persons, and I will find you again in the eternal home where I am meant to dwell. There I will serve you forever, and I shall never be separated from you, even for an instant. I am forever and forevermore your eternal servant, O my beloved Lord and Master. Hey Krishna, in public places I glorify your mercy, which is granted to even the lowest creatures, and which enables me, even though I am lowborn, to live in this forest of Braj, the place where your great devotees who are filled with pure love aspire to take birth, even as a blade of grass. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant, Narada Muni, kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I ever leave his service? Having accepted the renounced order of life, my home is this Vrindavan forest. My bed is the soft dust of Vrindavan, and the sky of Vrindavan is my blanket, and the flowering creepers of Vrindavan are my only belongings. The moon over Vrindavan is the lamp of my hopes, and my chanting beads are counting the days until I meet the divine couple, Shri Radha and Krishna. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyanan Gyana Shalakaya Chaksin Militam Jena Tasmaya Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Dear Prabhus, guests, and any newcomers, welcome to this very auspicious day, this very auspicious function in a most auspicious place, our famous Bhaktivedanta Manor. We're sitting today at the Lotus Feast, a feat of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We are most fortunate, we are blessed. And today, we are observing Snana Yatra. This is, as you all know, because you're here for this function, this is the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath, meaning Lord of the universe, along with his sister, Subhadra, which means actually auspicious, Subhadra, and Lord Baladev. And as you know, this ceremony, this ritual, takes place just before Rath Yatra. It's coming up. This is the dawn before the rising of the sun. And interestingly enough, there are many instructions in our scriptures just how to perform this ceremony, especially in one of the Puranas, Skanda Purana. Prabhupada would often quote Skanda Purana to give credence or authority to the words that he was saying. We'll touch on that a little bit later. I think first and foremost, let us hear from His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, how to perform this ceremony according to time, place, and circumstance, now in history. And that we find in a letter Prabhupada wrote, maybe you didn't know, but now you know, to my very dear god sister, Yamuna Devi, June 4th, 1970. And she was here in London at that time. And Prabhupada wrote a letter, how to perform this Snana Yatra, way back when. And this is what Prabhupada wrote. And I believe that our pujaris have followed accordingly. He said, my dear Jamuna, regarding your first question, the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath, it is observed by His Lordship, Jagannath, standing in a bathing tank. Well, each of the devotees, in turn, offers prayers and obeisances, then pours water to bathe the Lord, then offers obeisances, and the next devotee follows the same procedure. All the other devotees are holding kirtan throughout the bathing ceremony. Is that what happened? I'm a little late because of the traffic in the city. Prabhupada continues the children's story. Regarding your second question, after being bathed, Lord Jagannath catches fever. And at that time, you may carry him along with Balaram Ji. Prabhupada writes, Balaram Ji, it's affectionate. I never saw that before. And Subhaja to my room for recovering. During this time, up to Rath Yatra, any repairs may be made on the deity. In Jagannath Puri, during this recuperation period, the deities are completely repainted. But that is especially in Jagannath Puri that this is done so. Then Lord Jagannath reappears on the day of Rath Yatra festival. During his convalescence, bhoga is offered as usual, but no visitors are allowed to see the deity. Prabhupada's instructions. Snana Yatra. So that we've done, correct? Now, according to Skanda Purana, this Snana Yatra ceremony, and you may be surprised to hear this, this is the birthday of Lord Jagannath. I can't concentrate. Maybe the boy can go in the back. Yeah. I don't think you can stop him. He has to go back. We're always interested when you meet somebody, when's your birthday? May 20th, June 3rd or something. So this is the birthday. We celebrate today the birthday of Lord Jagannath. Of course, you know that Lord Jagannath is Krishna. There's no difference. But it's very subtle. Krishna's birthday is Janmashtami. That's the 8th day of the dark moon in the month of Bhadra. But today's Jeshta Purnim. We're speaking Shastra here. This is Jeshta Purnim. On Jeshta Purnima, that's the day that Jagannath appeared. And it's understood that when he appeared as Jagannath, Krishna appeared as Jagannath, his form has these very big dilated eyes. Did he blink the whole ceremony? Oh, he has large, merciful eyes. And this is specifically for when he goes on his Rath Yatra procession down to Trafalgar Square. He's looking at everyone who's present on the sides of the road. And that look, that glance is full of mercy. A glance of the Lord is very powerful. Like darshan's very powerful, right? When we talk about darshan, we see the Lord. We come before the altar and we want to have darshan of the Lord. So we're seeing the Lord, but we should also understand Lord is looking at us. You're not a statue, my dear Lord. You're the son of Nanda Maharaj, the little Brahmin boy said. So what's more significant, your glance or his glance? Purushottam, he's the best amongst all male figures. You're looking, but he's looking, Hare Krishna, he's looking directly into your heart. That glance is very powerful. So therefore, a senior devotee, advanced devotee, you can become advanced the very day you join if you want. Atmanivedanam, full surrender. A devotee will spend as much time in front of the deity as possible. Just like if you're cold and you're shivering, and the hot sun's outside. So you go outside and you don't just glance at the sun. Oh, Surya Bhagavan, namaskar. You stay and you bathe in the warm rays of the sun. So in the same way, when we come before the deity, yes, we appreciate the Lord is there, his shringar, now he's getting his shringar, means his dress and his ornaments and turban, etc. And you appreciate that, but you understand that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is looking at me. I'm having his darshan after millions upon millions upon millions of years of forgetfulness. Lord, look in my heart. Purify me of all obstacles in the path of devotion to your lotus feet. Please, Krishna, I am yours. This is darshan. Yes, we observe the details, but here's the Lord. And he's glancing. His glance is so powerful. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antyakanda, verse 222, we hear, Ye prema pakashe Prabhu Chaitanya Gosai, Tanha Bhayananta Brahmananda Aranai. So beautiful, Bengali. The love of God that Lord Chaitanya manifested cannot be shown by anyone else within the innumerable universes. Iteke ye Sri Chaitanya Prabhura Upahama, Tanha by Aradite Nahi Kabu Shimha. Therefore, one can never compare Lord Chaitanya with anyone other than the Lord himself. And then this important part. Shabayari Shubhadrishti Karena Apane Te Tahana Shakti Dhare Tanra Tatvajane. Anyone who receives the Lord's merciful glance is empowered by him and can eventually understand him in truth. We're aspiring to understand Krishna. We study the scriptures, we chant Hare Krishna, we go on Sankirtan, we raise our children. But here's one way to become Krishna conscious. Anyone who receives his merciful glance is immediately empowered by him and can eventually understand him in truth. You can just stand in front of the deity, according to this verse, and his glance, just by his glance. You stand there. Take some time before you go to work. Don't rush off to school. Open your heart. Hare Krishna. And that glance, Chaito Tarpana Marjanam, washes away all lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, hatred, which are obstacles from the path back home to Sri Vrindavan Dham. You can see things as they are. Now, in the Sri Chaitanya Shataka, it's one of my favorites, text 78, it's by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he knew Lord Chaitanya very well because Lord Chaitanya delivered him. He was the head priest in the Jagannath temple, but a bit of a logician. Children, children. It's hard to concentrate. Madhuri, can you maybe take the children in the back? You can be responsible. That's hard to lecture. They're not listening, they're playing, that's what children do. It's okay, but play in the back. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he knew him very well. So he writes in his Chaitanya Sataka, text 78, Kolo Shri Ghora Kripa Bhaya, Namama Tarika Jhabhaka, Krishna Saniya Sampataya Prema Bhakti Parayana. In Kali Yuga, people attain the association of Krishna simply by the merciful glance of Lord Chaitanya and by chanting his holy names. We want to go back home, back to Godhead. We want to be eternal servants of the Lord. We want to be part of his pastimes in the spiritual world. That's our Panam Gatim. That's our ultimate goal. It's called Sanatana Dharma. We have many dharmas, many duties to do in life, but Eke Kudu Nandana, to keep our mind fixed on the goal, Braj, Vrindavan, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So how do we do that? In Kali Yuga, people attain the eventual association of Krishna in the spiritual world. How? Just by the glance of Gauranga and by chanting his holy names. What? It's a concession made in this age. That's why we have Bhaktivedanta Manor. That's why we have our temple in Soho Street. So people can come, and there's Lord Chaitanya. He's not just standing like a statue. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's there to give you mercy. He's glancing at you. Take some time. And while he's doing that, you can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. In Kali Yuga, people attain the eventual association of Krishna by the glance of Lord Chaitanya and by chanting his holy names. We're so blessed here in the UK that we have this manor with so many beautiful deities. And we have our Soho Street temple with Radha Ishwara. Why have they come? Out of their causeless mercy, so that you can stand before them and they can look at you. Yes, you're looking at them, but more significant, they're looking at you while you're doing the Yuga Dharma. Kali Kali Namarup, Krishna Avatar, the holy names, they're looking at you and you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. One day you may get back to the spiritual world and some confidential devotee will inquire, how did you make it? You know, I went to Bhaktivedanta Manor whenever I could, and there's Radha Kulananda and Sita Rama and Gaura. I just stood there, as Maharaj said, on Snana Yatra, and I just said, look at me. And I was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Now, there's one problem. Not many people come. How many people live in this country? So very soon here in London, Jagannath's going to leave. It's his will. We're thinking that we're taking him out of the temple, we're carrying him. No, he moves by his will only. And he's going to go on the Rath Yatra cart. And he's going to show his mercy. He's going to give his glance to the people of London. Because in Kali Yuga, people are not inclined. Not so much as they were in previous ages. Not like your grandpa and your grandma. I'm speaking quite strongly here. Your ancestors. No, they're not inclined. People don't go to the temples. But Lord is so kind, he leaves the temple to see the general population. Not just the pious. He's a very merciful incarnation. Krishna comes, Paritranaya Sadhana, Vinashaya Chatuskritam. He comes and he sees people and he delivers the pious and he annihilates the biggest suras. Not Jagannath. Jagannath's a very merciful form of the Lord. That's why he was the first deity to appear in ISKCON. My god sister Malati was shopping one day in a bazaar, I think it was in San Francisco, and there were some Indian items, some spices, some saffron, some whatever and she saw a little tiny deity of Jagannath. Just, like it looked like a toy to her. So she stole it. I wasn't supposed to say that. She shoplifted it because we didn't have any money. I think I'll get it for Prabhupada. It was on sale. Beg, borrow, or steal, but get the mercy of the Lord, it said. But be careful. She stole it. She came and Prabhupada was in his room and he was chanting japa. She came in, she said, Prabhupada, look at the little doll I found. It looks Indian in the bazaar. Prabhupada immediately put his japa beads down, did full dandabats. Jagannatha Swami, Nayana Pattakami, Bhavatu me. O Lord of the universe, kindly be visible unto me. And all his disciples like, what is going on? Prabhupada's bowing down to this little toy. And then Prabhupada had to explain that Lord Jagannath is the supreme personality of Godhead, and Krishna appears in this world in a deity form, and he was introducing this deity worship, which was revolutionary in Western culture. So Jagannath, he doesn't do like, paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya dharma samstap. He just gives mercy. He just gives mercy. And Nectar Devotion, which is a summary of Sri Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada was so expert, it stated that if even a low-born person stands up to receive Jagannath as he travels on the chariot, such a person from that point on should be considered an eternal associate of Lord Vishnu. We have homeless people. We're trying to help them in our own way, delivering prasadam, etc. Let's say there's a homeless person, up against the wall of the store, and he sees that, this chariot is coming, and this must be something important. So let me stand up, show a little respect for these Hare Krishnas, and he stands up and he sees Jagannath, and then he sits back down. Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, our authority, Rupa Goswami says, from that point on, because he stood up, he showed some respect, he becomes an eternal associate of Lord Vishnu. That's how kind Jagannath is. The Jagannath you were bathing. These things we need to know, so when we're bathing, we can appreciate who we're bathing and how kind he is. And don't think that's an exaggeration, because one of the offenses against chanting Hare Krishna is to think that the glories of the chanting or the glories of the Lord is an exaggeration. It's no exaggeration. This is called causeless mercy. We say in French, le clochard, the bum, the homeless person. Just out of some sentiment, he stood up. Okay, hi guys, sat down. Jagannath's so kind. Jagannath glanced at him. He didn't miss him because Jagannath doesn't blink. Why doesn't he blink? Because he's a mercy incarnation. Now, some of you may be surprised to learn that Lord Chaitanya himself observed this Snana Yatra. He came in the mood of a devotee. He came in the mood of a devotee. Krishna didn't come as God himself. He came in the mood of a devotee. It's another class because people may try to imitate him and become God. He came in the mood of a devotee and showed us the process for achieving him. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shangopanga Shaparshadam Yagnai Sankatan Prayar Yajantihi Shu Vedasha. Chaitanya Charitamrita. That same personality who appeared in Dwapara Yuga, bluish black like a monsoon cloud, has now appeared in the age of Kali as the golden avatar. And how will I recognize him? That verse says you can recognize him because he's chanting his own sweet holy names. And he's surrounded by his devotees who are also chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. So he's like, you could say, the original Acharya. Acharya means one who teaches by example. So Mahaprabhu, considering this ceremony so important, and everyone's coming, but we have to go deeper and deeper and deeper as we advance. We don't want to be at the same stage of Krishna consciousness 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. We want to see ourselves advance. So we understand these rituals, these ceremonies, through Shravanam, Kirtanam, Krishna Shmarna, by hearing and chanting. That's why it's important to have this lecture today. So when the curtains open, we'll have a better understanding. We'll have an appreciation for God. That appreciation will turn into affection. That affection will turn into prema, love of God. So Mahaprabhu, he observed. And I heard that. So I think, well, like, what did he do at this festival? What was Jagannath? What was Lord Chaitanya doing at this festival? And I found, I didn't see it in CC, I didn't see it in Chaitanya Bhagavat. I found it in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya. How many of you are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya? Yeah, I'm the only guy here. It's by a devotee named Chaitanya Das. And actually I found Prabhupada quotes Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya numerous times in his purports. So when you speak in learned circles among scholars, you have to substantiate what you're saying by referring to a verse in the scriptures. So what I'm going to share with you is not something that I've made up or, I heard from. No, it's right there. Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya, chapter 14. It's a Sanskrit work describing Mahaprabhu's life. Some scholars say that it was written by Kavi Karnapura, but I found that Bhaktivedanta Thakur, a pioneer of the Krishna conscious movement, in his writings, he confirms that this Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya was written by a devotee called Chaitanya Das. So much nectar. Seek and ye shall find. So therein is described that one time, 500, well now it's 550 years ago, a group of devotees set out from Navadvip to go to Jagannath Puri for two reasons. Because at that point in history, the Bhaktivedanta Yatra festival was taking place and Lord Chaitanya was residing in Puri. After taking sannyas, he took blessings. He could have gone anywhere, but he knew his mother would miss him, Mother Sachi. So she said, don't go too far. So Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, and there he experienced the deeper mellows of Krishna consciousness, actually for the primary reason that he came, to understand Radha's love for him. Because Radha has Mahabhav, she has the most love for Krishna, and Krishna was the object of the love, so he couldn't understand her love. He wanted to, so Krishna decided to come in Kali Yuga to act as a devotee and try to understand Radha's love for him. It's a deep subject matter. And also to introduce the Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. So he's residing in Puri. He's in the Gambhira temple. Gambhira, there's a room there where he would go and he'd lay down, and Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy would read verses about Krishna's loving pastimes in Vrindavan. And this way, Mahaprabhu would experience this love that Radha has for Krishna. Anyway, so they came to see, they came to participate in the annual Rath Yatra and to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he left Navadvip and he broke their hearts. He's a heartbreaker. He did it in Vrindavan. He was in Vrindavan, everyone loves Krishna more than anyone's ever been loved before. And Krishna loves the Brajabasis more than anyone's ever been loved before. So when he left, he broke their hearts. O my Lord, O gracious to the lowly, thou art now living in Mathura. When wilt thou come to me? O darling mine, my heart is burning in pains of separation. Oh, what shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? This is the mood of Madhavendra Puri when he was leaving his body. In the mood of the gopis, he was lamenting, Krishna, you left Vrindavan and you're enchanted by all those beautiful ladies in Mathura. When will you come back? He didn't come back. But separation makes the heart grow fonder. This is Krishna's trick. So he left Navadvip. He's a handsome Nimai Pandit, long, beautiful, flowing hair, and And by that time there was Nityananda, and they were having their pastimes. Then he shaved his head, put on a cloth around his waist. He took his danda, which he considered his only possession, and he left to preach Krishna consciousness. The hearts of the people of Navadvip were broken. It took at least 50 years before anyone picked up a mridanga and kartals again. He could start chanting Hare Krishna, because they were feeling so much separation from Krishna, from Mahaprabhu. It was only Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shyamananda Pandit who held a big festival at Keturi on Lord Chaitanya's appearance day. He'd left this world, and they were holding this big festival. And all the big mahants and all the devotees came, and some solace, hey guys, let's start preaching again. It's a Keturi festival. So it's not the separation, there was some solace in the separation. But in this point, these devotees, a group of devotees, they left Navadvip. Mahaprabhu's in the Gambhira. He's in Puri. We missed him more than anything. Let's go see him. Now this party of devotees leaving from Navadvip to go see Mahaprabhu in Puri, it was organized by Shivananda Sen. And who headed it up? Who was the manager of that parikrama? Like we have our Kartik parikrama, so someone heads it up. It was headed up by Advaita Acharya. It included, this is the list of prestigious names, Srivas Thakur, Shriman Pandit, the great singer Mukunda, Murari Gupta, Haridas Thakur, and Vasudev Dutt. Oh my God. What a Sankirtan team. Wow. The Shastra says these personalities were so exalted that simply by hearing their names one becomes purified. You may not know them, but just hearing their names is so purifying. You don't know how antibiotics work. You take them, they cure your disease. So in a transcendental way, the names of these personalities who were fully surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to hear their names, you become purified. So therefore I'm going to say it again. Shivananda Sen, Advaita Acharya. Oh, Maharaj, keep going. Srivas Thakur, I'm almost there. Shriman Pandit, Mukunda, Murari Gupta, Haridas Thakur, Vasudev Dutt, Haribo! Someone crying tears of love of God. And in the chapter 14 of this Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavya, verse 39, it poetically describes some of these devotees. Advaita yam didarat bhat, shivaso bhakti bhavata, amritam krita nam adbhuta, haridaso mahamani. It describes, right? I mentioned their names, but here's a poetic description of these personalities. Advaita Acharya was compared to a great ocean of devotion. Wow. Lord Shiva stood within that ocean like a mighty mountain of bhakti. Advaita. Murari Gupta was like the sweet nectar produced from those waters, and Haridas Thakur was like the radiant Kaustubha jewel shining within. You have to hear that many times, but we'll move on. So when all these devotees arrived in Jagannath Puri, who was there to greet them? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he embraced each and every devotee. It was a large party. They stood in line for the embrace by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Where were we? Why weren't we there? The Lord appeared, the Lord of all that be, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared 5 centuries ago. Where were we? We should have been there. And after all that embracing, Shivananda Sen and Vasudev Dutt, they came forward with 2 big pots of Ganga Jal. Jal means water. Like Krishna has Jal Keli, he has his pastimes in the water. So they came with these big jugs. They carried them all the way from Ganges water. So Mahaprabhu, seeing the water, not even touching the water, Gangama. He started singing and dancing in ecstasy. And tears were flowing from his eyes. Not flowing, but like this. Sprinkling out. Like that. How is that possible? I saw on one occasion, I saw Prabhupada crying like that. He was singing, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi, and he stopped. It was in Paris. He was on the Vyasa-san. Before I looked at the temple president. Prabhupada's having a stroke. He said, Prabhupada's in ecstasy. These are the 8 symptoms of ecstatic love for God. We saw with their own eyes. Generally, devotees don't show, pure devotees, because they don't want the general populace to follow them, for these ecstasies. They want the people to follow them for the knowledge they're giving. But sometimes, as Jesus said, my cup runneth over with love. They can't hold it back. And I watched, and we sannyasis, this is called Yuttari, this is our top piece. I saw that the tears were accumulating like that on Prabhupada's tari. So later in the day, the Pujari asked devotees to come and do some services. And there was one service, could someone wash Prabhupada's clothes? And everyone was busy, and I said, I wash. And I took that uttari to my room. It was still wet, and I sucked on those tears until it was dry. It's probably the only reason I'm still here, but such a blessing. So Mahaprabhu, and then he stopped and he said that this water, this spiritual water from Vaikuntha, it should be reserved for the upcoming Snana Yatra of Jagannath Swami, Jai Ho! So that ceremony began a few days later. It's so wonderful, this book. Authorized, Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavi describes that, quote, the bathing platform for Lord Jagannath was decorated with abundant flower garlands in an attractive archway, along with a huge network of other fragrant flowers and small tinkling bells. Like what? What would we know about the spiritual world if it was not for the fact that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to reveal it? What would we know about the spiritual world? What would we know about the revealer, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if it was not for this Sad Goswamis, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan? What would we know unless Prabhupada came? Senapati, the great general in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. What would we know? We're so indebted. We owe our lives to Srila Prabhupada. Now there's another Shastra called Charita Shuddha, Carita. Shuddha, and which describes that as the ceremony commenced, the devotees broke out in this, it says this very especially loud, joyous kirtan. Because there's 2 lords present. There's Jagannath and there's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And these devotees knew who they were because they're all males around Mahaprabhu, but in the spiritual world, they're females. The gopis of Vrindavan descended along with Krishna as male personalities to help him serve the Sankirtan movement. So they knew who Chaitanya was. And initially nobody knew because he was just a pandit as a young boy. He revealed himself later as Srivas Angam. But like if your parents dress up in some costume for, there's some party, they wear costumes and they come out of the room, hey mom, what are you doing? You know who they are. They can't fool you. So the pure devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you couldn't fool them. They knew. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world. He knew who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. So there's this special kirtan at the beginning of the Snana Yatra. The deity's out, people start bathing, and the devotees broke out in this kirtan because there's 2 lords. There's Jagannath Swami and there's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both are embodiments of causeless mercy. Causeless mercy means we don't have the adhikari. We haven't done anything. We're Kali Yugas, people of Kali Yuga. We don't have the right, but they come, like Shakespeare says. Mercy, it falleth from heaven like a gentle rain upon those below. That's us. It falleth like a gentle rain. These personalities appear in society and they wander. And they give the mercy in the form of the Yuga Dharma. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Now, this book goes on, but this song, these devotees are so enlivened. It's called the Snana Yatra song. I couldn't find it, so I am late. I was going everywhere. I got to find this song. What all this? I couldn't find it. But I felt, well, I've got enough. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Now, at that point, Mahaprabhu, he took his position sitting on a raised platform to observe the Snana Yatra, like you were watching. So Mahaprabhu, he sat on it because he's Mahaprabhu. We call each other Prabhu. We don't say Mahaprabhu. I mean, the great person. No, we're all eensy, weensy, tiny, eensy, beensies, jivas. But he's Mahaprabhu. So he sat on a raised platform. And he was observing the devotees bathing him as Lord Jagannath. It's so mystical. He's bathing. So at one point, something really deep happened. And I was thinking of not including it in my talk, but I'm going to do it anyway. At one point, Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahakavi describes that Lord Chaitanya, now get this, he turned to Swarup Damodar, his personal secretary. And he said, "Oh, Lalita, just look at your boyfriend." Excuse me? He's speaking to Swarup Damodar, a male. He addresses him as Lalita. "Oh, Lalita, look at your boyfriend." He's pointing to Krishna. So what does that mean? Well, the idea is that in the spiritual world, Swarupa Damodar is Lalita Saki. He's an expansion of, I was mentioning how the gopis come. So Lalita Saki in the spiritual, who's in love with Krishna, like all the Sakis and the Manjaris, he's Lalita. When he comes, he takes the form of Swarup Damodar. So Lord Chaitanya is kind of joking, "Oh, Lalita," meaning look at your boyfriend, Jagannath, who's Vrindavan Krishna. Actually, Jagannath is Vrindavan Krishna. There's in that Ashtakam, Jagannath Ashtakam. He's actually in the mood of Krishna in Vrindavan. So you get it? "Oh, Lalita, look at your boyfriend." I mean, Swarup, look at, Jagannath. That's your, anyway, Hare Krishna. So it's very deep, but it gets even deeper. Okay, I'll share this too. You can listen to this class and then get it. Lord Chaitanya was looking at Jagannath, and Jagannath was looking at Lord Chaitanya. What? They're staring at each other. Sometimes Krishna stares at his reflection in a pond in Vrindavan. He said, "Who is that beautiful boy?" Now, as the two of them, as Lord Chaitanya was looking at Jagannath and Jagannath was looking at Lord Chaitanya, they both became overwhelmed in ecstasy. But as the bathing continued, because the bathing, I wasn't here, but we bathe in many substances, like water, milk, yogurt, ghee, and honey. As Jagannath was being bathed with all these substances, Snana Yatra, he got into anxiety. Why would he get into anxiety? His devotees are serving him very nicely. They're showing his love by the Abhishek. "Here, Lord, here's some water. Here's some ghee, bathing you in honey." I mean, I don't think I could handle that, but apparently the Lord loves it, the Abhishek. But the problem was, Jagannath, he was covered, he couldn't see Mahaprabhu. So Jagannath, he started trembling, and everyone, "What's going on?" He's trembling because he can't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu can see Jagannath, but Jagannath can, so some pujari got it and he wiped the substances away. And Jagannath could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his tears started coming like this. The deeper understanding. What is this movement we have joined? We're attracted by the food, by the dancing, but it's very, very deep. And we have to Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Shmaranam. We have to hear as much as possible from our authorities. especially Srila Prabhupada, who presents these deep subject matters in a very easy to understand way. Sometimes people say, Prabhupada didn't give us everything. Well, hold on here. The Krishna book, which I used to distribute in the ghettos of Detroit, when I was a new devotee, Krishna book came out. And I used to go to the ghetto. I was robbed many times at knife point. The money I collected, I had to give to the people who would, attack me and my Sankirtan party. But Prabhupada says an introduction to the Krishna book, which is a summary of all these loving pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. There's the 10th canto. It's quite deep, yes. But Prabhupada summarized it in the very beginning of the movement because he didn't know how long he had to live. So he wanted to give us Krishna consciousness from A to Z. So he so expertly presented these pastimes. It's almost as sometimes, you read them and it's like they're easy to understand for children, yes. But Prabhupada said in the introduction, one day when my disciples come to the stage of feeling very intense separation from Krishna, Vipalamba Bhav, it's very high, he said, this Krishna book will give them solace. How expert Srila Prabhupada was. He predicted the time may come because the process works. Maybe not in our generation. Prabhupada said one time in Detroit, he said, the children of your children will be pure devotees. He said it right on the Vyasasana. The children of your children. It's like, I kept thinking, God, that's 2 generations away. Why was I born now? He said, so when you come to the stage, you stick to the straight and narrow. 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds a day, offer some service to the movement, associate with devotees. The process works. Prabhupada said, when we come to that stage, just reading Krishna book will give you, so Krishna, you're there, you're with me. So Jagannath was in ecstasy because he couldn't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It reminded me of the gopis, right? The gopis of Vrindavan. Remember, we've read many times in Prabhupada's purports that the gopis, they not only criticized, they cursed Lord Brahma because Brahma made eyes that blink. Just try to keep your eyes open. No, you have to blink. It's just nature's way. And who did all that? Brahma. He's a sub-creator. He made eyes that blink. And gopis, just a moment separation from Krishna is enough to put them in great distress. There's that verse. Atati yad bhavan ani khananam turuti yogiyate tvam apasyatam kutila kuntalam srimukam chate jara udikshatam pakshma bridashnam. I love this verse. Krishna, when you go off to the forest during the day, a tiny fraction of a second becomes like a millennium for us because we cannot see you. And even when we can eagerly look upon your beautiful face, so lovely with its adornment of curly locks, our pleasure is hindered by our eyelids, which were fashioned by that foolish creator, Brahma. He made them blink. Now that we may not understand that, but in the Shikshastakam prayer, Mahaprabhu reveals, O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment. I mean, if you're not with Krishna for a moment, if you can't see him for a moment because you love him so much, a moment feels like 12 years or more. And tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant in the world without you because I can't see you for 1 second. This is bhakti. This is Braj Bhakti. This is what we want to attain. Therefore, we have to hear about it. According to Prabhupada's purports and the summary in the Krishna book, etc. One time a newspaper reporter, just on the job, I think he was 19 years old, just got the job. He graduated from university and he was a newspaper reporter for some newspaper in Bhubaneswara. So he came to see Gaur Govinda Maharaj, my illustrious godbrother, who's I'm sure back in Goloka now. And he asked, he's thinking, what kind of questions can I ask the Swami? So Swami, can you tell me, what's the essence of this Hare Krishna movement? So I would say something like, well, we have to learn we're not the body, spirit, soul, there's karma, there's life after death. But no, Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, what's the essence of this movement? Crying, crying, crying. Crying, crying, crying. So the boy said, should I put that in the paper? Yes. He's such a bold preacher. Gaur Govinda Maharaj ki. So after the bathing ceremony was completed, Snana Yatra, Jagannath, Subhadra, and Balaram were taken to a special room. As Prabhupada described in the beginning, remember, that he in the letter to Jamuna, they got a cold. Got a cold. How can God get a cold? Well, he gets a cold so that you can do more service. Because your whole life you're begging for service. What does it mean? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare. Hey, my dear Lord, my dear energy of the Lord, Srimati Radhika, just give me some service. I'm your servant, Jiver Supoya Krishnera Nityadas. That's who I am. I'm not Indian, American, German, French, boy, girl, black, white, man from Mars. No, I'm your servant. I'm your lover. And lovers exchange love by doing service. Like the boy says to the girl, I love you. So then do something for me. Give me a flower, diamond ring or something. As young boys are attracted to young girls, and young girls are attracted to young boys, Rupa Goswami prays. In the same way, but in a transcendental way, with the same intensity, Krishna, let me love you. So we're on the path. We're beginners. We shouldn't jump over. But Confucius said, the longest journey begins with the first step. So here we are. So stick to the straight and narrow. Work now, samadhi later. So, Hachu! Jagannath got a cold. So the pujaris could increase their service. And eventually he recovers. We know in time he goes on the Rath Yatra parade to Trafalgar Square. Well, they were different in those days. And those days, Lord Chaitanya would dance the next thing in front of the cart. So, one last thing. In chapter 31 of the Purushottam Kshetra Mahatmya, this is part of the Skanda Purana. It's called Purushottam Kshetra Mahatmya. Purushottam means that Puri, Kshetra means the place, Mahatmya, that's this great place. It's described in a part of the Skanda Purana. Therein I was reading Jaimini Rishi. Jaimini Rishi. He says to the sages of Naimisharanya, this is so cool. You're going to love this part. Maybe you just remember this part. Jaimini Rishi speaks to the sages of Naimisharanya that about the glories of just witnessing this ceremony. Now, I was left out because you're traffic in this city, even on Sunday. But you were here. And Jaimini Rishi, he speaks about the glories of just being in this room while the pujaris are bathing the deity. Maybe you didn't get a chance. You're just sitting there looking. Oh, I don't get to be so many people. Just sitting in this Haveli as the ceremony is going on, Jaimini Rishi says the following. For those, in his voice, for those who witness the Snana Yatra of Hari, all sinful reactions are vanquished. There's no exaggeration in our scriptures are the words from Srila Prabhupada's lotus mouth. He goes on, there is no other act that liberates one without exertion. All other ritualistic acts like holy baths, charities, penances, obeisances, yajnas, etc., may be multiplied millions of times over many lives, but they cannot be compared to the devotional piety of just witnessing, standing in the Haveli, just watching this Snana Yatra on the glorious appearance day of Jagannath Swami in the month of Jeshta. He goes on, dear Brahmins, a person who witnesses the Snana Yatra of Jagannath with devotion, even once in any particular year, does not experience any grief when it comes time to become liberated from the material world by devotional service to Sri Krishna. I don't want to take too much of your time. Well, this is the best use of time, but we want to see him. We want him to see us. But I'll finish today with one prayer. It's written by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. It's called Bhaktivedanta Manor. And I found it's translated by my godbrother Bhumipati Das, and is published by Ishwar Das he has this media called Touchstone Media, the book there. And earlier I said, where was I? Where were we when Ram appeared in Treta Yuga? Where were we where Krishna appeared in Dwapara Yuga? Where were we just 5 grandpas ago, 100 years ago, when Mahaprabhu appeared in Navadvip? Where were we? Why weren't we there? So I was reading kind of like just before coming, and I read the same sentiment was expressed by Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. You can identify with this. And because we weren't there, we're here now, be here now. The past doesn't exist. The future is only misery. There's only the present. And present means a present. Today, right now, we have a present. We participated in this ceremony, and it should increase our devotion and our intensity to serve Jagannath, Lord of the universe. So here it is. He's lamenting. Why did I, the most unfortunate fallen soul, not take birth at the time when Lord Gaurachandra inundated the entire world, including the highest mountains, with the flood of love of God? Alas, I was unable to relish those waves of love of God and the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why did I not take birth at that time to serve the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya? Why did I not become the servant of Sri Rup and Sanatan? Why did I not carry the water pot of Raghunath Das Thakur? Why did I not wander with Ramananda Rai around Chakratirtha? Why did I not see the deliverance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? When Prakashananda Saraswati, the leader of the sannyasis of Kashi, attained spiritual bliss in the form of devotional service to the Lord, why did I not take birth then to relish the devotion-filled nectarian waves of the Lord's arguments against those Mayavad sannyasis? Yes, you feeling? Even though such a coveted desire is rare, still, if I would have taken birth as a mundane logician in the family of a Brahmin at that time, then Sri Chaitanya, the friend of all living entities, would have punished me with his sharp, arrow-like words. You're a rascal. Logician. His sharp, arrow-like words, and accepted an atheist like me as his servant. I would have agreed to appear as an atheist, because Mahaprabhu's sharp words to the heart would have made me his servant. Then he would have entrusted me to Haridas Thakur to be rectified by chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Alas, if only I could have seen with my very own eyes the Lord sitting in the midst of the Vaishnavas and delivering all living entities who are burning in the fire of material existence. How would he have done it? By distributing the nectar of the holy name. Why didn't I take birth then? To see that. How much ecstasy would be the associates of the Lord when, having been awoken and thereby awakening other living entities from the lap of illusion, the Lord would have raised his hand and said to all of us, take this remedy for material disease, drink the mellows of ecstatic love, chanting Hare Krishna, and become immortal. Countless human beings, afraid of the demon-like material enjoyment, would have begged for his shelter. Had I been born then, I could have seen it. the Lord would have embraced them out of love and happily awarded them love of Krishna. Thus, the material disease of the living entities would have been cured. Why wasn't I there to receive that cure? I am a servant of Sri Chaitanya and have fallen in the material ocean. The Lord is my only guide, my only protector. According to his order, I am inviting all of you, dear readers, dear listeners, to please chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. O living entities, O friends, give up karma kanda, the path of fruitive activities. Give up tarka kanda, the path of argument and speculation, and give up brahma kanda, the path of worshiping the impersonal Brahman. Come forth, and take the love of God distributed by Sri Chaitanya to your full satisfaction. Then your disappointment will be destroyed. Your contaminated state of conditioned life will be vanquished, and you will regain your original constitutional position. Then you will attain peace, which is your constitutional characteristic, and you will relish unlimited, ecstatic love for Krishna. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki. So we're thinking like that, but there was a book when I was young, it was called Be Here Now. Now, we could say with, educated guess, these are the modern day pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada said, one day scholars who write about these things, one day scholars will write how this Hare Krishna movement saved the world in its darkest hour. That'll be a chapter, modern day pastimes of Chaitanya. You're part of it. You've inherited the legacy of all these great souls, these acharyas in disciplic succession and their followers who work together cooperatively to spread Lord Chaitanya's mission and fulfill his prophecy that the chanting of Hare Krishna will go to every town and village of the world. What could be a greater privilege? Each to his own. We have our own ways. Krishna says he's the ability in man. It means that each of us, it may seem like a small service, but just like this harmonium. I know it well. If the screw here, I've seen it, falls out, the whole thing falls apart. So even the smallest service upholds the so-called greater services. So Sankirtan means the complete glorification. Prabhu, as we are blessed, we've inherited this mission. All these great souls worked so hard to this point, and none of us individually can do what Prabhupada did, or Bhakti Siddhanta, or Gorkashore, or no, but collectively, and as a Sankirtan, collectively, we can work together to fulfill all of Prabhupada's desires, that there's a set of books in everyone's home, that Hare Krishna becomes a household word. The whole world's full of Govinda restaurants and deities who work, and farming communities, and all educated. Like this is our work. We have to fulfill all of Prabhupada's desires. And when that's done, we can come and say to Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, mission accomplished, what's next? I was sitting with Prabhupada, and he's giving his darshan in Mayapur, and one of my godbrothers, he said to Prabhupada, Swamiji, where are you going to go when you die? Whoa, you can't ask you can't ask that question. No, Prabhupada, where are you going to go? Prabhupada, I plan to go to the lower planets, to Patala Loka, to introduce the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have a lot of service to do, to work together. Snana Yatra K, Jagannath Swami K, Lady Subhadra K, Lord Balaram K, Go Premanande!